What if the worst moments in your life visited you every night in your sleep? What if your dreams weren't dreams at all, but warnings? August the 4th, 1981. A typical Tuesday morning in Toledo, Ohio. The sun rose, birds chirped, and people clocked into work. And Cynthia Anderson disappeared without a trace. No witnesses, no screams, no struggle, no note. Her purse was gone, her keys were gone, but her car sat untouched in the parking lot. Cynthia's office was eerily pristine when she had last been seen, as if frozen in time. Her chair was sat slightly askew, pushed back just enough to suggest she'd stood up in a hurry or had been pulled away. A single book lay open on her desk. Opened at page 217, its yellowed paper whispering a passage that spoke of a woman disappearing without a trace. The air held a faint scent of fading perfume that lingered like a ghost of her presence. It was as if the room itself was waiting for her return. Some believed Cindy's dreams weren't just dreams, they were visions, warnings, or worse, premonitions. For nearly a year before she vanished, Cynthia Anderson was haunted by vivid, reoccurring nightmares. In these dreams, a man would break into her family home, stalk her, abduct her, and then murder her. Each night she relived her own death, over and over again. One morning, her sister overheard her crying to their mother. "He murdered me, Mum," Cindy sobbed. "He murdered me." Her family, strict Christian fundamentalists, dismissed them as just dreams, whispers from a restless subconscious. But dreams are never just dreams when they start bleeding into reality. Cynthia, or Cindy Anderson, was 20 years old, a legal secretary working at the Rabbit and Fieldstein Law Office on the East Manhattan Boulevard. To outsiders, she seemed like the last person who would vanish. Attractive, reserved, a model daughter, raised in a deeply religious home, with a strong moral compass and a clear path. Soon she'd be quitting her job to attend Bible college with her boyfriend. But just beneath the surface, her world was unraveling. She had become skittish, paranoid. She kept the doors to the office locked at all times. She stopped eating breakfast. She lost weight. She changed her makeup routine. The day before she disappeared, a client walked into the law office to settle a bill. While he stood there at the front desk, Cindy answered the ringing phone. Her face went white. She hung up immediately. Then the phone rang again. She picked it up, listened for a second time, and slammed it down again. When the client asked her if everything was all right, she forced a smile. "It's nothing," she said. "Just someone playing games." But the man later told the police the look on her face wasn't just fear, it was terror. 10 months earlier, someone had spray painted a message on a wall across from her office. "I love you, Cindy. By G.W." 6 feet tall and painted in thick, bold letters, in direct view of her desk. Cindy wasn't aware of anyone with the initials G.W. She was disturbed, so were her co-workers, but no one did anything. The message stayed on the wall for 6 months before it was finally removed. Then, weeks later, it reappeared. This time larger, bolder, louder. Was it an actual admirer, or something more sinister? The law firm became worried. They installed an emergency buzzer under Cindy's desk, a silent alarm that would alert the neighbouring businesses if she was in danger. But she never used it. And on the morning of the 4th of August 1981, sometime between 9:45 and 10 a.m, something went terribly wrong. Cindy was alone in her office. She was seen alive for the last time just before 10, and after that, silence. 1 month after Cynthia Anderson's disappearance, the phone rang at the Toledo Police Department. The voice on the other end was frantic, female, young, anonymous. She said she knew where Cindy was. She's being held in a basement. There are 2 white houses, side by side, owned by the same family. She's in the basement. Please, you have to hurry. But when the police pressed for an address, the caller panicked. She hung up. A few minutes later, she tried again. The same voice, same story. But this time, she heard someone listening on the other line and disconnected again. She was never heard from again. No address, no name, no trace. Just a voice in the dark and a girl still missing. By this point, Cynthia Anderson had been missing for over a month. Police had combed her law office, examined her apartment, interviewed friends and family, and turned up nothing. One of the first leads brought them straight to Cindy's workplace, focused on a man known only by his initials GW. He was a cleaner who had regular access to the building where Cindy worked. He had keys to the offices. He knew the layout. He likely knew the routines. And disturbingly, his initials matched the cryptic graffiti scrawled twice across the wall opposite the law firm. "I love you, Cindy," by GW. Police questioned GW during the initial stages of the investigation. His access, his proximity, and the unsettling public declarations made him a person of interest. But then, nothing. No physical evidence tied him to Cindy's disappearance. No suspicious behaviour the morning she vanished, and no connection the police could prove beyond coincidence and implication. Another theory that emerged in the shadows of Cynthia Anderson's case involved 2 of Ohio's most notorious serial killers, Anthony and Nathaniel Cook. Between 1980 and 1981, the very same window in which Cindy vanished, the Cook brothers terrorised the Toledo area, murdering at least 9 people in a brutal spree that targeted mostly women. They operated in darkness, abducting victims from seemingly safe places, parking lots, sidewalks, even their own homes. The locations matched. The method of sudden disappearance also matched. But that's where the similarities ended. Despite intense speculation, no evidence ever connected the Cook brothers to Cindy. There were no confessions, no forensic, and no personal links. Behind the gossip and speculation, a darker theory quickly took root, one whispered more than spoken aloud, that Cindy, she had been targeted by a satanic cult. The early 1980s were the peak of what's now called the Satanic Panic, that satanic cults were operating in secret, preying on the innocent, conducting rituals in the dead of night. In some cities, including Toledo, they were rumours that never went away. In Cindy's case, several things didn't add up. Her reoccurring nightmares, her extreme anxiety, the fact that she had never told anyone who had been calling her. This tied directly into the fears that Cindy's own church community held, that she had been taken by people who saw her as more than a threat. They saw her as a target, a girl of faith, obedient, naive, pure. And to the wrong people, that made her prey. Some believed the cult theory was too far-fetched. Others thought it was the most logical explanation in a case filled with dead ends. Another theory says that Cindy chose to disappear, that she walked away from everything, her job, her family, her faith, and started a new life somewhere else. It sounds possible until you look at the evidence. And one last theory is that Cindy ended her own life. The dreams, the paranoia, the phone calls were signs of a mental decline no one recognised at the time. After all, she was plagued by reoccurring nightmares for nearly a year. She told her mother that in these dreams a man would break into the house and take her away. Her mother said it was just anxiety, just a bad dream. But dreams have a way of warning us, of seeing things we can't yet admit. What if Cindy saw her own fate coming? What if she tried to stop it and couldn't? One detail continues to haunt investigators. That open book. The passage describing a woman abducted, dragged away, gone. Did Cindy leave that book open as a message? Did she know something was going to happen? Or was that page opened after she was gone by someone else? To this day, no one has accessed her bank account. Her social security number has never been used. No credible sightings, no confirmed remains, no answers. Just theories and possibilities. Maybe the answers were buried the day she disappeared. Maybe someone out there knows the truth and stayed silent all these years. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this story. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.